Gold just realized its biggest yearly gain since 2010, and Wall Street says it's going even higher. Heading into 2025, JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs are both forecasting $3,000 an ounce gold. Investors betting on the 2016 Trump playbook are in for a shock. In 2016, our national debt was $18 trillion and interest rates were zero. In 2025, our national debt has doubled to $36 trillion. Interest rates are 4.5%, and stock market valuations are at extreme highs. The Dow closed out 2024 with 10 down days in a row, something that hasn't happened since Jimmy Carter was president. The Wall Street Journal said gold will outperform stocks in 2025. Bank of America, Bloomberg, Goldman Sachs, and JP Morgan are all forecasting $3,000 an ounce gold and paltry returns for stocks. Call the proud Americans of the Patriot Gold Group today before it's too late. Mention the Still Report, and you'll always get best-in-class service from Patriots protecting patriots. Patriot Gold Group has the no fee for life IRA, where your IRA or 401k can be in physical gold and silver, and you may be eligible for the no fee for life IRA on qualifying rollovers. Call 888-753-1647 for a free investor guide today. Patriot Gold Group is Consumer Affairs' top-rated gold IRA dealer 7 years in a row. Call 888-753-1647. Good evening. I'm still reporting on the coup. We've brought our expert in criminal justice back, Sam Anderson, to talk about the last of the Trump legal issues. Okay, so got Sam back here, and we're going to get his reaction about President Trump's announcement regarding the Supreme Court's lack of action today.
Acknowledge what the judge said about no penalty, and there's no penalty, but we're going to appeal anyway, just psychologically, because frankly it's a disgrace. It's a judge that shouldn't have been on the case. He's a highly conflicted judge, and they called for an appeal. So I read it, and I thought it was a fair decision, actually. So I'll do my little thing tomorrow. They can have fun with their political opponent. As you know, I'm under a gag order from a judge. This is the first. This was an attack of a political opponent. And if you take a look at it, I'm not supposed to be talking about it, so I won't. I'm the first president and probably one of the first candidates in history that's under attack with a gag order, where I'm not allowed to speak about something. And they ought to find out what that's all about. And this is a long way from finished. And I respect the court's opinion. I think it was actually a very good opinion for us, because you saw what they said, but they invited the appeal, and the appeal is on the bigger issue. So we'll see how it all works out. I think it's going to work out well. We beat Jack Smith. He's back, I hope, at The Hague, but I don't think he should be there either. He puts people in very bad positions, like giving people death penalties. I will tell you, Jack, he is a disgrace. We won all of those cases. We won most of the other cases, or they're limping along. We've had a lot of lawfare. These are all people that understand what's going on here very badly. This was an attack on the Republican Party. This was an attack on the Republican candidate who just won an election by record numbers, the highest number of Republican votes by far ever gotten. And we won all swing states, 7 swings. Won the popular vote by millions of people. And that was the real vote. And I said it a long time ago, the real vote is that. And they tried to stop that from happening. They tried to stop this election from happening, or to bloody somebody up so badly they couldn't win. And the people got it. And again, we won by the largest number. Nobody's ever seen anything like that. It was conclusive. It was a massive, they say, the most consequential election in 129 years. And these people, the people know everything that you're asking. They've been studying this for 2 years as it went along, and hopefully it'll never happen again, an attack on a political opponent. So Peter will be appealing the decision. They're asking for an appeal, and that's on the fact, on what's going to happen.
He wasn't too worried about it, listening to him.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, business as usual. It'll get through the appeals, and he's confident. I think the rest of the world is confident, including his enemies know this. But let's see how far it can go to see if the state of New York appeals court will overturn this, which they should. If they don't, we know that that whole bloody state is a worse mess than we think, and something's going to have to be done about it.
This kind of reminds me of about the Bible verse, God works in a mysterious way, because this is probably going to turn out a whole lot better. That's the impression I got from Trump. He doesn't mind the label for a few weeks or months or however long it takes to drag through the system. But uh, he made quite a point of, the Justice Sotomayor invited the appeal. So I guess that's not the usual way things are done, and a good omen.
Yes, and he basically told the media, "You guys have fun with it tomorrow. You're going to have your kicks and giggles and have fun." It's only going to increase his popularity even more in his resolve. So I look at it as the Republicans better start to unite because even though we suspected that this will happen, it's going to still piss off quite a bit of the American populace that voted for him, and even others who didn't vote for him that actually are starting to see good things happening even before becoming president. They want him to succeed. They really do. We're seeing the scandal happening right now in California with Governor Newsom with the fires, and Prime Minister Trudeau in Canada right now got caught covering up the Wuhan lab viruses, allowing Chinese unfettered access, and he covered it up. That's a crime. So things are kind of
I missed that one. So when
yeah.
did this actually come out? Why Trudeau had resigned suddenly?
I would say that because Poilievre, the person that's going to replace him more than likely from the Conservative Party, brought it out, and he had a whole file of it.
Now,
He had a
did
whole
did
file of it.
this have to do with their own level 4 lab?
Yes,
That's what I said right at the very first when I first heard that. That's what is some
yeah,
connection there.
you called it, Bill. You called it, and YouTube banned you for it. You called it. But I see favor in Trump by all this happening. It's just going to be even better because people now want some more justice. They want to see it. The Republicans better stop playing their games of, well, we don't know, we need to vet. And Chuck Schumer is putting the word out to try to disrupt it as much as possible. Be disruptive. And come on, we're tired of that. We don't care about your little clique over there. We want you to do some work to make this country great again and to get it back on its feet, give people their jobs, get their sanity back, bring the debt down, and bring prices down on everything and get rid of all these people that came in the country illegally. Start removing them. That's where it has to begin. And if you start disrupting his nominees, then you're disrupting the peace of everybody that voted for them. And next time to get vote, for sure this time they'll get voted out. Absolutely. So they better get in line.
My mother was a steadfast Democrat, and I just got a feeling from her. I swear she was looking down from heaven, going, "Go Trump!"
She probably had her heavenly MAGA hat on.
No, well, that was like the final straw to her. What?
Right.
Still going after him with this stupid thing? This is too
Correct.
much. This is not American.
No.
She was an American patriot.
Oh yeah, quite a bit. Even my parents were Democrats for a long time, but they were conservative Democrats.
Yeah.
During the Jimmy Carter era, and after that, when Clinton took over, uh, they were already voting for Reagan, and they had already made up their mind that no, this party is still tilting left, and they didn't like it. It went against their values, and so they were gradually switching over. I've always been a Republican, always have, always will. Uh, for obvious reasons. But Trump
Well,
is going to succeed.
you're ahead of me. You were ahead of me. I made the switch watching Jimmy Carter's activities.
Yes.
Even though he's the first one that allowed me into the White House, I still went, this guy's nuts.
Yeah. Well, we live and learn as a country. We move on from it. And now we have to start correcting a lot of decades of problems that have led us to where we are today. And the government certainly needs to be brought in and controlled rather than them controlling us.
Yeah.
That has to happen. And we have to release opportunity in this country for all, literally, and just make it less intrusive on everybody's lives. And I can see that that's what Trump wants to do. I still have reservations on some picks and everything, but it's better than nothing at all or going through too much of a process because I believe that who he's choosing to be in these positions are people certainly who can do the job, but are people that are going to render their services exactly the way the president wants them to do it. This is how I want you to do it. Do it this way because if we start seeing more firings, Trump will already have somebody lined up ready to go. I'm sure he has second and third people ready to go on a list should the people that he choose not do their job. And all of a sudden, you'll see on X and Truth Social, we want to thank Secretary so and so for their service and blah, blah, blah. I have appointed such and such, the acting secretary in place. It's like that. And he has no problem with it.
It's so cool that we're actually getting to hear from the president on a daily basis now because of Truth Social and
Yes,
his willingness to say stuff there.
right. But back to the Supreme Court decision of Sotomayor, like I said in our previous video, she has the absolute say over it, or she can bring it through the the whole nine justices to make a decision on it, or do nothing at all. But she went with tradition of the court because this isn't what that court is there for. They are there to take on various cases and weigh them, and they can say, okay, we saw that you did this correct, but this isn't correct. You need to take a look at all this stuff that we voted on before on previous cases, and we're giving it back to you to correct it. You can go back to the circuit or whatever and they would have to correct it. And if they don't correct it and they have an impasse or whatever, and it goes back to them, then they'll make a final decision. But they don't make decisions on things like that. I don't think on a president-elect, she probably felt that this wasn't the right thing to do. She probably felt that it needs to play out in New York before they can strike down their statutes that I'm sure Trump will challenge on of how and why they did it, which was improper. It broke every rule in New York that attorneys must abide by, including statutes, and combining a federal statute with a state statute and creating a law of thin air. Um, that's unheard of before. That's never happened, and that trampled on the Constitution. So maybe that'll go back up at a later time during and or after his appeal, and he'll his Justice Department can probably attack that law and do something about it. We'll see, but that's going to be up to the new Attorney General and Kash Patel to start opening up investigations on everybody, which I believe he will, and I certainly hope he does.
Yeah, and it's something. It's an egregious decision in the first place on the part of the lower court that needs to be corrected. I mean,
Yes,
if she would have just let it slide, then that would have been put off to a whole nother generation until this issue came up again. And
correct.
that's what they're there to prevent.
Right. And another thing, Sotomayor has hinted at retiring. And it kind of hit me today too, as well, is that might be her final farewell uh, to her liberal elites that she's allegiance to. to say, hey, I'm retiring, but I'm giving a gift to President Trump. He's going to select a new Supreme Court justice, and that person will be in charge of New York. Wouldn't that be nice? So that's not going to be good for the Democrats at all. A few of those liberal states that next justice will be in charge of, and that's a good call right there.
Now, you mentioned that something that we have to do, or the president has to do, is find a way to start reducing the national debt. And of course, in my opinion, there's only one way to do that.
Yes, we certainly need to do it, and there certainly is a way to do it by bringing back the United States notes. And while he can't do it through executive power, and only the Congress can do that under Article 1, Section 8, all they have to do is reintroduce those, and they don't necessarily have to print the money at this time. It's all digital. It's all digital. So the $119 billion that is this week alone that they're printing new money with bonds, they can release that in U.S. notes and just put them in circulation digitally and let the Department of Engraving catch up later on with the new notes. Keep the same bill, everything, just change the color and change the name on the top from Federal Reserve to United States notes and gradually reintroduce them. It really doesn't make a difference. And they say, oh, we see a problem. What's the problem? It's the same thing. If you and I still had that note today and we went down to the store to buy a soda pop and a Snickers bar, guess what? They'll still take it, and they have to take it. It's legal tender. It's
Right.
still good, and there's still over $260 million in circulation of those today. They haven't captured them all out of the circulation. So it takes a long time for stuff to get out, but
Well, certain congressmen have, let's say, pro-Fed congressmen, have repeatedly tried to take the status away from the U.S. note, and they're always voted down. So there's some core of congressional people who know why it's important to keep that thing in there, keep
yes,
those notes alive, uh, because, gosh, they've been in existence since the Constitutional Convention, or actually a little bit before that.
right,
They were called continental currency.
right. I certainly have my ideas on the possibilities of what can be done.
Yeah.
And I kind of spoke with you a long time ago. Maybe we could do it on another episode or something about Trump bucks, Trump notes, things like that.
Yeah,
Uh,
especially with this big emergency in Los Angeles, that would be a great way to pour some cash in there that did not break our federal bank.
right. I mean, he wants to buy 1 million Bitcoin, 1 million coins as a strategic reserve. Okay, well, if you're making that official, I worry more about that because of the fluctuation what Bitcoin can do. Let's say a big whale came on there and decided to sell 200,000 coins overnight. That's going to send a ripple that can drop the price dramatically too as well. And it might take a while for it to go back up. Hey, 1 million coin holder as a strategic reserve can wait it out. And I'm certain that that coin will certainly go up in value in time. I've always said that, and it will. I believe it'll hit 250,000 in my lifetime sometime, maybe sooner, maybe later. I don't know, but it will. But what scares me is the fact that that can be used as credit. I mean, you just created like over $80 trillion worth of new possibilities. And what can that do to our deficit and so forth? So these are uncharted territories, uncharted areas that we're
Yeah.
going into. And it's new. That's the reason why we now have a crypto czar that's going to be in charge of everything. And I'm glad finally we got that. We really need to have some really good progress for that. So that way, the new um, uh, central work of crypto as well as decentralization of it is working together hand in hand and allows people to have more control of their finances and money too as well. Get out of our wallet. We're tired of you tracking every dollar bill that we have. We're tired of you having to have us register our small corporations and companies and everything, give details about it. And now you want to give details about the trust that control that we've had for hundreds of years in this country. You know, it's unheard of what they want to do. And I certainly hope that the future brings in this new realm of financing for us all because it's going to do us better. But it worries me on that. However, if they can do that, they can bring back the United States notes quite easily. Do it digitally.
which has been around, well, like I said, for over 200 years,
Correct. And
continually for over 100 years.
it's been a better success than the Federal Reserve note.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. It's sovereign money. And when you have sovereign behind your money, that carries a lot of weight. That's going to bring the value of our currency much higher. That's going
Yeah.
to bring it much higher.
Sovereign money means that it's not debt money,
Correct.
that uh, it's not being controlled by the banks.
Correct. And quite frankly, the banks have gotten away with too much. And a lot of the scrupulous things that they've got away with and got caught, they get slapped on the wrist, pay a little bit of fine. Who cares? But we're tired of bailing out banks. We're tired of bailing out car companies. We're tired of bailing out insurance companies, stock companies. Oh, it's because of we let these retirements go. So what? You know, it's not our problem. It's these few people that have been on Wall Street and been in the banks that have been overly greedy for centuries, practically, definitely decades, and we're paying the price for it. We shouldn't have to pay the price for it. So reintroduce the United States notes and let's bring down the deficit. And I told you before, I'm ready to build a calculator that can time it with our national debt clock and start putting in reserve dollars with it and see if we can get it to reverse so that we can show and tell that yes, this would work. I think it'll be interesting to say the least.
Looking forward to that. Okay,
Yeah, that'll be
well,
fun.
anyway, Trump is happy with it, so we're happy with it, and
He
onward.
said to have fun with it, Bill. He said to have fun with it. You know, he's going to get a kick. You know, you guys get your kicks and giggles and have fun with it. And I'm certainly going to have fun with it by watching the meltdown in the media and about convicted felon going to see the prime minister of this. You know, hey, you know, Trump just has to blow bad breath on some prime minister anywhere, and all of a sudden their popularity goes like this. And he's not even president yet again. Okay, and here all this is happening. You know, it's just their house of cards is falling down. It's lovely to see, and I'm going to enjoy watching all this corrupt government people from the top down
Yeah,
get caught.
totalitarianism really had a big run there for the last 20, 25 years, and
Yeah,
it has finally fallen. Trump has
yes,
put a KO to it that'll last many years.
yes. And all Cash Patel has to do is really hire a good team of people that know how to follow the money, and I guarantee you, you will find the answers to everything. Follow the money.